Hey everybody, this is TJR.
Mrs. Superfan.
And I have been kind of shying away from unboxings and haul videos because I'm trying to concentrate more on video essays about music and in-depth analysis on albums with the Weekend Spin. I do have some stuff in the works, but I'm not ready yet. And this
So you're getting an unboxing and you're going to like it.
But this weekend, we went to an estate sale 2 days in a row. Let's talk about the person who this stuff belonged to. We're not going to name any names, but apparently he worked for Paramount Studios.
Yes.
He worked in music clearance, which to my knowledge would be clearing licenses for music to use in motion picture and film.
Exactly.
He had a massive collection of LPs, CDs, CD box sets, merchandise, memorabilia, music related. He had a lot of memorabilia related to Lord of the Rings.
Yes, but.
And other fantasy novels and series. He had a lot of stuff related to the Beatles, just merchandise. And he had a lot of stuff related to Barbra Streisand.
He had an entire bedroom for Barbara.
Yeah. But there was a lot of stuff. We can't get into it all here. There was some stuff that we picked up as gifts for friends. We're not going to get into that here. But after we took these LPs home, we looked through them. And of course, the condition on the LPs themselves was just amazing. The worst is that they were dusty, which is easy to take care of. I've already cleaned some of these and played some of them, and they sounded really great. But we found some unique things hidden inside these LPs that I don't think anybody noticed.
They're like little hidden treasures.
Yeah, little hidden treasures, and we'll get into that in a moment. I will tell you, it was a 3-day estate sale, and Friday we couldn't go. I don't think we even knew about it at that point.
No, we found out about it late in the day Friday.
Yeah. Saturday, I went by myself. Everything was 25% off. And after visiting Friday, I thought we should go back on Saturday when everything is 50% off.
Yeah.
And see what we want to get.
Part of the reason that we decided to go back was we found these little, maybe not treasures, more of a time capsule.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a moment. Before I talk about the LPs, I am going to show one purchase that I made today when it was 50% off. This is, of course, the Beatles stereo box set. And this was less than $50. I, of course, own all the CDs in this. I bought them separately back in the day. But this was the actual box here. And one thing I noticed as I picked this up here, and let me try to open it here. There we go. That's right. It's got a little magnet there. Is that all the CDs inside, it also has the DVD too, with all the mini docs that were included on the CDs back when CD-ROMs were a thing. Everything's sealed in here. None of these have been opened. They're all completely sealed. I debated whether I should get this since I have everything. I don't have the actual box. It does have the DVD, but I thought to myself, two things. One, if I don't open it, I could probably sell it and pay for whatever I bought at this sale, at this, this estate sale. Two, I could just gift out my copies or sell them separately. And again, maybe gift them to friends and relatives that I think would appreciate having them. But it was too good of a deal to pass up at just under $50 for this. And especially with everything still sealed up, not used. So with that said, we're briefly going to talk about the LPs, and then we're going to talk about some of the things we found in the LPs. So stay tuned here. Friends by Elton John. This is kind of an unusual album in his discography in that it's a soundtrack album. It's half Elton John and the Elton John Band. It kind of falls somewhere like at number 3, but it is considered part of his official discography as far as his albums. And the other half is orchestral music by Paul Buckmaster. I actually have the recent 50th anniversary pressing of this that was released that I thought sounded absolutely fantastic. And at half this was during the half off today. So for just a few bucks, for $2.50, I thought, yeah, let's just compare it and see what we think to the remaster, to the re-release. This we got for Superfan because she's such a big U2 fan. This is a big 12-inch single. Angel of Harlem, A Room at the Heartbreak Hotel, and Love Rescue Me. This is, of course, from the release of Rattle and Hum.
And that is labeled on the actual disc as a promo.
Yeah, the disc actually, we can tell it's a promo because it's got the cutout here, but the disc itself is also labeled as a promo. And so this guy probably got lots of promos, among other things, but he was also a big fan, and you're going to find out why in a moment here. Emerson, Lake and Palmer Works. To me, this album is worth it just for side one, which is not Greg Lake's, excuse me, Keith Emerson's Piano Concerto No. 1. Absolutely amazing piece of piano instrumental music. It's worth it just for that. Cat Stevens, T for the Tillerman. Recently, I listened to my first Cat Stevens album in its entirety. Cat Stevens has been pretty much just a greatest hits artist for me growing up. Although I started listening to his albums when he became Yusef, because I became curious with his first release as Yusef. I just want to know what is this going to be like. And I've actually have like 3 of his albums post Cat Stevens, although he did start saying the first one was Yusef, then it was Yusef Cat Stevens / then he started releasing his Cat Stevens / Yusef. But I'd never heard his early stuff. So recently I got, Teaser and the Fire Cat. Really, really enjoyed it. It was a new pressing. This is a vintage pressing, of course, from the 70s of this one here, T for the Tillerman. I said, after listening to Teaser and the Fire Cat, I said, okay, next one I'm going to get is T for the Tillerman. So, and then here it was at this sale. So really glad. And again, even the day before, 25% off. This was $5. So 25% off, the next day, 50%. War Child, Jethro Tull. I don't feel like I've got like a couple of Jethro Tull albums. I've got the ones that everybody has. I've got Aqualung. I've got Passion Play. Maybe not everybody has that one, but I have a real fondness and affinity for that one. And of course, Thick as a Brick. But there's a lot of Jethro Tull I haven't listened to yet. So again, vintage vinyl, very inexpensive. I'm gonna check it out and listen to it. Jefferson Starship, Red Octopus. And of course, I remember the hits off of this one in the 70s, but never heard the album. So let's check it out. And again, all these were, everybody was commenting that as we were there at this sale, these are in such great shape. Covers are in good shape. I actually went outside to look at the records, and I was like, wow, these look so good.
They're like new.
Yeah, I mean, just dust. That's it. Carole King music. Now, I actually found a copy of this, a vintage copy, at a garage sale that I picked up for like maybe 50 cents. Super cheap. The album showed a lot of wear, but for 50 cents, I thought, well, just take it home and clean it and see how it sounds, What's the harm? Well, you're out 50 cents. Big deal. And the record was warped when I brought it home. Yet after I cleaned it, and I'm talking just a good dusting with a carbon fiber brush, a real thorough dusting. It sounded great. It was one of the best sounding used records I'd ever heard. It sounded brand new, but it was still warped. It was warped so bad that sometimes it was a little tricky getting the needle on one side to start right. So I figured I'll buy this as an upgrade, And I've already cleaned this one. It just needed to be dusted, and I've already played it and listened to it. It sounds fantastic. It's going to replace my older copy, so it's like getting an upgrade. Basically, is what I'm doing. And like I said, for not a lot of money, and I already know I like it. In fact, aside from Tapestry, I'd never really listened to any other Carole King album before. And I actually like this album better than Tapestry, in my opinion. And so after hearing this, I thought, yeah, maybe we'll check out some more Carole King. And that's what I did. So I found this one here as well. And I thought to myself, yeah, this was another early one. We're gonna check this one out. Pick this one today at 50% off. Joan Baez, Diamonds and Rust. I've never listened to a Joan Baez album in my life, but I always loved the song Diamonds and Rust. I always thought the recording was beautiful sounding. And I thought, well, let's hear the rest of the album, see what it's like. Maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't, but let's give it a try. Again, got this one today, so inexpensive. If I don't like it, I can easily sell it or trade it for something I want. Here we go. This is Stills Young Band, Stephen Stills and Neil Young. And I've heard about this album, but never listened to it. So Neil Young, I've always liked Neil Young a lot. I have a lot of his albums. Stephen Stills, I'm only familiar with what he's done with Crosby, Stills and Nash, and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. But I figured I'll check this one out here. It was, again, in fantastic condition. That's the sleeve. Again, some of these I've already gone through and looked at and checked out. This was another upgrade. I initially bought this album at a yard sale, and it was really cheap. But this was clearly a better copy, so upgrade, upgrade for cheap. And in fact, I've recently began listening to early Carpenter's albums this last year, and I've got like I think 3 or 4 of them right now, and so I found this one here that I hadn't heard yet, and I decided, yeah, I'm getting this one. We'll check it out. This is called Now and Then, and then this one here was actually their first album here. And again, just really inexpensive, in great shape. I'll check that out. I've heard their cover of Ticket to Ride because it's on their Greatest Hits release, which I had previous to all this, which I like their cover. So now I'm going to discuss a little bit about what's kind of special about this collection here that I haven't shown yet. But first, before I do it, leading into that, I picked up 3 Joni Mitchell albums, Court and Spark, of course, a favorite of mine by her. And I picked up 2 other vintage Joni Mitchell albums here. We've got For the Roses here, and we've also got this one here, Ladies of the Canyon. And so I've been hinting at that there was something special about these. And I'm going to talk about what that is right now. So I'm going to use this as an example. This is not the only album where I found this, but I was starting to go through these. This was one of the first ones I decided I would clean and listen to and digitize while I'm listening to it. And as I pulled out the record, I found a whole bunch of press clippings in here, inside the sleeve. And I was like, what's this? And so I looked at it, and this owner here, this person whose collection, we were buying from, he saved all these press clippings about the albums, about their place in the charts. And I can see this here where he's like hand marked things. And there's Joni Mitchell, Court and Spark there. Various reviews here. He hand wrote dates. This is a review by Robert Hilburn. There was a clipping here advertising her concert. And he wrote in his own hand, it says, in a rare concert appearance, and he wrote in parentheses, I'm going, with a big exclamation point. And it was like I could feel his enthusiasm, because this isn't the only album I found this on. A whole bunch of the albums that I've just shown you, a good, I would say more than half of them, have this inside. They have all these clippings where he's written little things, where he's like pointed out stuff and circled stuff. He was a really big fan. Not just, he worked professionally, but he was also just a huge fan. At the time a lot of these albums were coming out in the 70s. He would have been anywhere between 18 to early 20s, late teens, early 20s. This was his ticket stub for the Joni Mitchell concert that was enclosed with this record here. And it says here, March 5th, arena level, ticket price $6.50.
I'll go see Joni Mitchell for $6.50.
Yeah. That money went a lot further back then. And there are these little notes he put on the back of his ticket stub. And it says here, some little notes here, saw Joni, so mellow. He mentioned something about Raised on Robbery, which is one of the songs on the album. It's hard to read his handwriting spots. He says here, saw Mark D. And Tom and Mrs. Parker.
Which made me wonder.
Yeah.
The obvious question is
Tom.
Colonel Tom?
Yeah, Tom and Mrs. Parker. Tom Parker, Mrs. Parker, Colonel Tom Parker.
Question mark?
Maybe, maybe not. It's fun to speculate on it, though.
It would have been early in his career if that was
Yeah,
the
this
case.
would this would have been early 70s, and yeah, it's not unthinkable that if he was already working in the music industry at this point, that he could have run into people like that at a concert, maybe, or maybe it's not related at all. Who knows? But as I looked at these, I thought to myself,
It's
this
just kind
is-
of a fun little time capsule.
yeah, these are his fan clippings. He'd clip out, I mean, sometimes he just clipped out little tiny bits where it just made mention of Joni Mitchell. He dated it. Yeah, just little bits and pieces of his fandom. And I was just kind of blown away by this. And this wasn't the only album I found this on. Like I said, I found this on a lot of the albums. And I'm kind of let me first of all, let me just put these back carefully here. To me, it's almost like getting a chance to have him show me his collection and show me his what he did. I remember seeing an interview with Bill Maher where he showed how, as a teenager, he followed popular music very closely, and he would actually keep track of who charted where, because he was just into it. And this would have been back when he was a teenager. So I'm going to put that all back together. There's the album, of course, I cleaned it, so I need to sleep now. But
and we're going to get a little folders to put those.
Yeah, just a little
Press
something to put
clippings.
those press clippings in, but keep it with the album. Here is, I didn't show this, of course, here's For the Roses. There's the album. It's still in its original sleeve. I haven't cleaned it yet. And here's the press clipping that he saved in regards to it. I think on one of these, someone gave the album, not the kindest review, and he wrote a little something, in retaliation to that. That is kind of neat and fun.
But yeah, it's
This is that
kind
Carpenter's
of like an
album.
insight of who it is and who owned these albums and how much he cared for them.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that, again, here we go. Here's the back. Here are all the press clippings he saved. And
And we
sometimes
haven't even looked at all of them yet.
it's whole bunch of stuff in that one here. Yeah. Here we just had one little thing. But yeah, it's kind of just really cool to look at this stuff and see what he did here. Yeah, even the Jefferson Starship album had a little clipping here. This War Child by Jethro Tull actually had an 8x10. I've got it backwards here, but let me pull it out for you real quick here. It's tricky to get out. There we go. Had this 8x10. It's not autographed or anything, but yeah.
Although, as part of the memorabilia he was selling, there were tons of autographs.
Yeah, there were a lot of autographed pictures that he had at the estate sale. I'm not into collecting autographs, and I don't really have any place to display them. So I'm just gonna kind of let that go. I'm not gonna collect that. But there it is. Kind of a cool and unique thing. There was something else that we found that we might talk about in a separate video because it bears its own examination in video.
Yeah.
And we've got to look at it a little more closely before we talk about it, though. But just something that we found amongst his Beatles stuff, and that we did pick up, and we'll maybe talk about that soon. In the meantime, I am working on some essay videos. One of them is about Led Zeppelin and The Who. It was suggested to me by Robert Kinsler, whom I do videos with, And it was suggested to him by one of his friends, who is apparently watches this channel all the time. So Robert Kinsler's friend, if you're watching this video, yes, Robert told me your suggestion, and I'm working on something on that. And anyways, though, but yeah, this was kind of an interesting estate sale, one of the more interesting ones we've been to.
I would say, yeah, definitely.
But just the personal connection between this person and these albums, just that little, just finding these little time capsule, yeah, newspaper clippings and his little comments here and there that he hand wrote on these things, just adds a sense of just a personal touch to it.
Yeah.
And, you know, we never knew this person. Since then, we have read up on him a little bit because we found him on social media. We found his Facebook, and we're
not gonna
we don't want to name names or any of that, but we've just learned a little bit more about what he did in his lifetime in the music industry, and he was involved in a lot of charity work too. He did an awful lot of charity work. He primarily used his Facebook to raise money for causes for different people.
Yeah, he donated quite a bit to different friends.
Yeah.
Birthdays.
Yeah. So
in their honor.
So yeah, so we kind of got a little bit more of a sense of him. And anyways, though,
we've never felt the need to do that for anybody else that we've gone to an estate sale.
No, never felt the need, because these were just albums that we saw that we picked up, but we were surprised to find these things inside the albums. Again, we didn't find them until we took them home. I didn't realize they were there when I was purchasing them. I did look at the records, of course, just to give them a quick inspection, and of course realized, yeah, these are all in great shape. I've never found albums in such great shape.
There was a gentleman that we were talking to that did mention, because I said, I don't know what's in the back. We picked up a book for a family member.
Yeah, we picked up some books, too.
And I mentioned that there was something in the back that I hadn't looked at it, and he goes, oh, you'll find that in all of his things. You'll find little things.
We talked to someone who actually knew him while we were shopping and looking at stuff and deciding what to get. And he did tell us that.
If something related caught his interest at the time, he would put it in with it.
Yeah. Anyways, though, so yeah, kind of a very unique haul this time. Very different from anything we've done in the past. And
Grogu liked it so much he stayed.
Yeah, Grogu's still over there. That's why he's not here in the video. He's still at the estate sale.
He's gonna call us when he's ready to come.
Yeah,
home.
well, he had a huge collection of Rolling Stone magazines, and Rolling Stone going back to when it was a newspaper format. And I think he's trying to eat those right now.
I told him not to, that it would make him sick, but
well, we'll see.
He doesn't listen.
I told him he had to pay for them first with his allowance money, and then he could only eat them after he paid for them.
Yeah.
So, anyways, though, thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned. I've got some cool things coming up. I hope you're going to find them interesting, fascinating. As always, if you like these videos, be sure to hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon so you never miss a video. Thank you, patron supporters, for all that you do.
Mighty.
Patron supporters do receive exclusive weekly videos, not available on this channel. I'm going to be discussing some movies with the patrons this weekend. And if you're a patron supporter, that's going to come out today.
Yay!
Yay. Anyways, though, thank you so much for watching, and we really appreciate it. And see you all in the next video. Bye.
Bye.